court evicted him on the basis of threats against me.
Can you produce any evidence of that? I've never violently threatened him.
That's not true, Your Honor.
I never have. There's no evidence of it because it's never happened. I'm a very big man. If I threatened you, Dan, you would have called the cops.
Keep in mind, I'm living in the house at the same time. I'm losing control of my own house.
Plaintiff Daniel Rath claims his former tenant was taking advantage of the pandemic by refusing to move out. He's suing for $863 for unpaid rent and additional fees. Defendant Alexander Freitas says the plaintiff made up lies to get him evicted. He claims he owes nothing.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. You can have a seat, ma'am. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Najee. How are you?
I'm doing well, Judge. How
Good.
you doing?
Good.
This is case number 142 on the docket, Rath versus Freitas.
Okay, thank you.
You're
and
welcome.
Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
And let's see what I have here. The plaintiff, Daniel Rath, you are suing your former tenant, Alexander Freitas, for $863 for unpaid rent and additional fees. You are, how are you?
I'm the witness.
She's my mom.
Oh, your mom. Okay. Hi, Mom. Okay. So Mom is here as a plaintiff witness. So let's start with you then, Dan. What's your case?
It all started back in March of 2020, just before the COVID pandemic started. Alex and his brother had responded to an Airbnb listing that I had posted for my third floor for a private room.
Yes.
He asked to come out and check out the place. They ended up liking it. They wanted to work out some kind of deal outside of Airbnb, just paying cash and potentially on a long-term basis. So I agreed to that on a condition that during the first 2 weeks, it would be a trial period. If the first 2 weeks went well, they would continue staying on a word-of-mouth, verbal month-to-month agreement, paying the same amount, following the same rules that were in the original agreement on Exhibit A.
Okay, so after the first 2 weeks, it was then month to month.
Correct.
And what were the rules?
Looking at Exhibit A, there's no vaping, no smoking, no pets, no parties or loud noises, no excessive drinking or drinking to the point it becomes a problem, no crazy cooking in the kitchen, must clean the kitchen after using. The kitchen is technically not included in the rental, it's just a private room, but I allowed it on a case-by-case basis.
It's in the agreement that I can use the kitchen, so you can't say it's not included in the rental when you have it in the agreement.
It says on Exhibit A, Your Honor, that the kitchen is technically not included in the agreement and is subject to availability. The next rule is must keep the space clean, no drugs, and any rules broken render the agreement canceled.
Yeah, technically on that, what it says is regarding the kitchen, two things. One, no crazy cooking in the kitchen. Yeah, anytime, frankly, anytime I cook.
It's crazy cooking?
Yeah. In fact.
Oh, we cook crazy in the kitchen, Your Honor.
When I prepare a meal at home, we pray after the meal. But here it does say, and this is relevant, you must clean the kitchen after using. Kitchen is technically not included, but subject to availability.
In which I did clean the kitchen after using.
All right.
And predominantly, I used the kitchen to cook for myself, as well as multiple dozens of meals for Mr. Rath while I was renting for him.
Oh, okay.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so what's happening?
2 weeks went by. We're going just month to month. Things are going well in the beginning. I obviously liked their behavior during the trial period that was covered by the written agreement. But as time went on, as they became more comfortable in the house, some of the rules started to get broken. Small at first. Sometimes, some of my food would go missing. They would replace it with something, after I confronted them about it. They were bringing strangers into the house. They were drinking more often. I would bring my own alcohol in the house, and a day later, some of it's gone. 2 days later, the whole bottle's gone.
Let's be honest here. I don't really drink that much.
Rules were being broken more often. More of my food was being taken. It got to the point where, I didn't even want to go grocery shopping anymore because so much, I knew my food was going to be taken. I finally sat Alex and his brother down on July 6th and said that I don't want to rent the room anymore. And I asked them, how many days do you need to find a new place to stay? Alex said 30 days. I said, no problem. I won't argue with you. You got 30 days to leave. You know, we both go our separate ways, no courts involved, no problem. 2 weeks later, I followed up with Alex. I asked him, you know, how's it going? Are you still moving out? Are you looking for a place? He said that he thought that I didn't want him to move out anymore. And it was at that point I learned that I had to get the courts involved. So that's when I finally filed a formal eviction against them.
And the court ruled?
The court evicted him on the basis of, you know, violent threats against me.
Can you produce any evidence of that? Because the court really didn't give me a very good opportunity to speak my case. When the judge decided to hear my behalf of it, I started with, I have no right threatening anybody, which I've never threatened him. I've never violently threatened him.
That's not true, Your Honor.
I never have. There's no
What did he
evidence of
say?
it because it's never happened.
What are you saying that he said?
There were several phone calls and in-person verbal arguments where he was using the COVID situation to his advantage. He was saying, evict me, evict me. You're never going to evict me. It's COVID
Where's the
right
violence,
now.
though? Where's the...
So he was using that to his advantage. He was saying, if you try to evict me, you don't know what I'm going to try and do to your property, making vague threats like that. We never got physical, but just, and keep in mind, I'm living in the house at the same time with him and his brother in the house, so I'm losing control of my own house. So I turned to the courts. I told them what was happening, what was being said to me. They ultimately decided to hear the case because it was on a basis of violence and not on a basis of non-payment of rent.
And he just said there was no violence.
The threat.
There was no threat of violence. He even said there was no threat of violence.
Did you say to him, though, at some point in the argument, and people, you know, when they get angry at each other, they start saying it. Did you say, you don't know what's going to happen to your property?
I've never said anything in regards to his property. Never.
He said it against me. He said it in a vague way where I didn't know if he was going to damage my house or if he was going to hurt me.
All right, I don't have evidence of that unless you're going to present some.
The only time I've ever threatened him that wasn't a threat is because he actually broke the rules of our lease agreement or month to month. So after the court hearing, as far as the eviction, which he, you know, lied to the judge and said that I threatened physical harm on him.
Your Honor, that's
which
not
he
true.
can produce no.
We would have never
Okay,
had
no
a
evidence.
court if that wasn't true.
Okay.
I'm a very big man. If I threatened you, Dan, you would have called the cops. Let's
I
be
did
real,
call the
man.
cops,
You're
actually.
playing the
there
victim.
There would be a record of me calling the cops on July 4th
you
around
played the
11 o'clock
victim.
at night.
You
I
did call the cops on him?
That's a fact, and they should have a record of that.
Your Honor, July 4th at 11 o'clock at night, I was at a bar, and I wasn't
where
at the
is
house.
the...
He was
Okay,
at my
time
house
out.
drunk.
No,
Time out.
I was
He was
not.
drunk
I was
in my
at River
house,
Rock
Hang on.
and the
and
TVs
Point
were
Pleasant.
Hang on,
blasting
sir.
at midnight.
Sir,
Okay.
the judge is speaking.
Okay,
Stop talking.
let's look at the record of the call.
I don't have a written record of the call, but I'm sure the police department does.
July 4th was my birthday, so at 11 o'clock at night on my birthday, I wasn't home. I actually have friends. You know, I have a personal life. I don't sit at home all day.
Your Honor, this
Go ahead
isn't
with your
about
case. Let me
violence.
hear your case.
All right, Your Honor. So the beginning of it, we did find the listing on Airbnb. He has a three-floor house, and the top floor of the three-floor house has, you know, it's like a one-bedroom, two-bedroom apartment up there. It's, you know, furnished.
Yeah.
It's got a bathroom. So that was the initial place that my brother and I signed, and that was the agreement that we were to stay up there.
Yeah.
After the 2-week process, another week went by, and this is after we agreed to do month to month. He decided he wanted to rent out to a nurse from Texas that was coming up to work during the pandemic.
Yes.
At which point, we didn't argue with it. We wanted everything to go smoothly. He asked us to move into the 2 rooms downstairs that are adjacent from his own bedroom. Upon us moving downstairs, immediately, every single day, it was complaints about the TV being loud, noise, and which we weren't doing anything different than we were doing upstairs, except for at this point, we're in closer quarters to each other, so you're going to hear what's going on.
Sure.
If you look at Exhibit A, there's text message saying that if I don't get headphones, I wouldn't be allowed to use my TV.
Your Honor, I never gave permission to bring their TVs into my house.
I don't need your permission to bring a TV into a place that I'm living. Just like I don't need your permission to watch my TV in a place I'm living. You're renting a room out to me. What I'm doing in the room...
Sir, speak directly to the judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. He rented a room out for me. I don't need to get written consent to have a TV. It all goes into control with him. If he doesn't have absolute control, he melts down and causes issues.
Where does it mention whether he's allowed to have a TV in his room or not?
I think it's just a generally known thing when you rent a room on Airbnb,
All right,
you're not bringing your own.
Your Honor, when I
Okay.
moved into the house, he saw me bring 2 TVs, one for my brother's room and one for my room. There was nothing ever said about not having a TV.
Okay. I understand. And again, you're entitled to say, I want this to be the last month, or give 30 days notice, and you're allowed to say, I don't like living here, too many rules, I'm out of here. So you both, I understand, neither of you want to be in the same environment anymore. Because of COVID, he couldn't be asked to, or couldn't be forced to leave the premises because of COVID.
He wasn't. He was formally evicted.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying initially, and that's why you have to go to court, because
Correct.
the court has to say it's okay.
Correct.
And that was on the
with COVID.
pretense that I was verbally threatening to do harm to him. So that was a made-up story. He's got a corporate lawyer.
That's not
He's an
true.
Okay,
accountant.
but that, in fairness, and I'm not saying you're wrong
Okay.
or right, I'm just saying that argument needed to be made in that court. You're no longer there. So the question...
Your Honor.
Now, what texts do you have that bring some light on this whole situation?
It starts with these simple text messages you can see in Exhibit A, and then I have an Exhibit F.
Yeah.
On May 4th, so this is not even 2 months after being in Daniel's home, he texted me and said, proposal, would you be willing to both sleep in Alex's room with 2 beds for the reduced rate of $300 from May 15th to June 14th for a total of 4 weeks? So this goes into, the bottom line for him is not providing a place for someone to live that's comfortable. It's for him to have absolute control over everything and every situation that's going on in the house, and to milk every penny out of anybody that he can to rent from him.
The question of motivation here, why he decides to rent out a room in a place that he lives when he's there, he can do it for any reason he wants, or decide, I don't want to do it or I don't want anyone who's tall living in my house, or, you know, in other words, that doesn't matter. It matters in the decision you make, whether you want
Correct.
to be in that environment, but it has nothing to do really with the lawsuit. Let me ask you, if you would, and what's your name? I'm sorry.
Grace Rath.
If you would step forward, what can you add to this?
The basic definition of what I understood what my son is doing is B&B. B&B is not a heavy-duty full-term rentals.
Yeah.
People don't move in with furniture. People spend the night. To this day, he has a few guests on and off. Very polite, very clean. Keep the rooms nice and neat and safe without using kitchen. And if they need to use a kitchen once in a blue moon, there is usually some type of a communication.
Not using the kitchen, does that make it inhospitable?
You know, the kitchen is not included to the point where you can go downstairs, make a cup of coffee. You don't go downstairs and cook a meal unless there's a communication with him and the guest.
Okay, and you can have a seat now, and thank you. Okay.
Can I ask one question, Your Honor?
One question.
So, did you guys freely help yourselves to cook your food and use my grill, and have I ever complained about it? My grill that I brought to your house. You guys openly used it, cleaned it up afterwards. I never made a complaint. You guys always cleaned the grill afterwards, but you guys openly used the grill, correct? And I never rented, and the agreement wasn't through
Once
Airbnb.
you agreed, okay, hold on. Once you agreed to a month-to-month, then it's no longer just a regular B&B. Then it becomes something a little more than that. But I will say, look, all of this is interesting, but because it was month-to-month, I'll say it again to both of you, either one of you, you don't have to explain to me why you wanted to get out.
I was looking for a place to move out.
Okay.
Before the whole eviction thing, what happened, we were in the middle of a pandemic.
I understand
In
that.
New Jersey.
I understand all of that. Now the question comes, knowing that both of you wanted to end this thing, the COVID meant that he would have to go through a legal process. A court decided it was legal. You obeyed it. You left within 30 days. So that's all okay. The question I'm being asked to decide is whether that last month you were there, you owe the rent for that month.
Well, Your Honor, I had blinds in my room. After the eviction thing, it goes back into this thing of control. He tried to deplete me of like every right that I had inside that house. My right to privacy. I had no right to privacy. There's a house adjacent, 15 feet away, where the levels of the windows are the exact same level. They have a camera on that side of the house, as well as they can see through my windows. So God forbid if they have a little kid or anything like that, when I get out of the shower, my invasion of privacy is, it's an invasion of privacy. I have to try to adjust myself in my bedroom to get dressed so nobody can see me from outside. After court and after the eviction process, or the hearing for it, he cut off the Wi-Fi. I had no Wi-Fi. And then he told me the only way he would turn the or allow me to use the Wi-Fi again is if I were to pay him. So, and before this happened, after the court, I got a legal document in the mail which Daniel decided to open. You actually have a video of Daniel admitting that he opened my legal mail and told me he opened it because I shouldn't have mail sent to his house. So
not true,
I
Your
live in
Honor.
a place. Oh no,
Well,
I have
let's-
the video, buddy. So
Well, let's see the video.
You can't open my mail. You can't, like, it's it. You open my other I got.
Oh, I didn't even know it was yours.
You knew it was mine. It was a legal mail that had my name on it.
You never asked me to get.
Doesn't mean you can't. You can open my mail,
Well, I can send it back.
but you can send it back, but you can't open it. And actually, you can't even send it back.
I don't open your mail. Yeah, I can send it back. I just
You opened my mail. You opened a letter of mine before, dude.
Okay.
So just because it's your house doesn't give you the right to open my.
Well, don't get it sent here.
Just even if I get it sent here, you can't open it.
All right.
Like what? Don't open my.
So on top of that, and not having Wi-Fi for the final 5 weeks that I was there, the living agreement
if he
was
lived- if
violated,
he's
and my
living
rights
there-
were.
Hold on. If he's living there, why wouldn't you let him get his mail there? I mean, what is he supposed to do without mail for a month at a time?
Your Honor, he started getting mail after I'd asked him to leave. He never asked me to get permission to get his mail
Okay.
sent to my house.
Okay. The fact is, people send letters or bills that he may have no control over. If it's a letter that's to him, any reasonable person would say that's his mail.
And Your Honor, I mean, I wish it stopped there. The fact with the blinds, I always paid him early. I never had an issue.
That is
And-
not true.
No,
In
that's
fact,
absolutely true.
It's the opposite.
No,
He
no, I
paid
always
late.
paid him early. My brother paid him late. I
Always.
always paid him early. My rent was always due on a Sunday. I'd pay
That's
him on
not true.
Fridays.
You lived there for that month,
Correct.
but part of the living there was not what you signed up for. And certainly the doing away with the blinds, the opening of the mail, maybe doing away with some of the Wi-Fi that normally he would have had. Once he agreed to a month to month, it's no longer just a regular B&B. So I'm going to say you want him to pay the month's rent, which is, what, $450?
50.
I'm going to cut that in half. And so I'll fine for the plaintiff in the sum of $225.
Try being warmer, Daniel. You'll get further with people being warmer with them. You gotta let loose of the control a little bit, and don't make everything about money.
I'm a 5-star rated host. I get good reviews from everyone else who stays there. You know, just with the good, you get the bad. So you're always going to get the bad apples. So I just learned to do better background checks.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for watching. For more Judge Jury, click here. For more Jerry Springer, click here.